Hi, class. Today we are going to take notes over the executive branch. So, we are moving right along in this Constitution unit. We've talked about the 6 big ideas that went into the Constitution. We've talked about the legislative branch. And now it is time to talk about the executive branch. So, within the Constitution itself, the part of the Constitution that created the executive branch was Article 2. So Article 2 establishes the executive branch, and within the executive branch is the president, the vice president, and the cabinet. And the job of the executive branch is to enforce the laws, or you can say that their job is to execute the laws, and another way to say that is that the executive branch carries out the laws for our country. So basically, it's Congress's job, the legislative branch's job, to write the laws. They make the laws for our country, and then it's the executive branch's job to carry those laws out, to see them through, to actually enforce the rules and execute what Congress says should happen. So again, thinking back to our graphic organizer that we took notes on at the very beginning of this unit, we've talked about the legislative branch over here in the Capitol building. Now we are going to move on to the White House section right here. So again, within the executive branch is the president, the vice president, and the cabinet. So let's take a look at the requirements to become the president of the United States. So the president is elected through the Electoral College. If you think back to our legislative branch, senators and representatives are elected through a popular vote. And if you remember, a popular vote is just the person with the most votes is the winner. But that is not the case for the president. They have a special extra step that they have to go through, which I will explain in a moment. The term of office for the president is 4 years, and they can serve 2 terms maximum. So that's a total of 8 years possible that a president can serve. They must be born in the United States. In other words, a natural-born U.S. citizen. So to be the president, someone can't have been born in Canada and then immigrated to the U.S. and become a U.S. citizen. They couldn't be president. They could become a senator or a representative, but to be the president, you have to be a natural-born U.S. citizen. Also, one requirement is you have to live in the U.S. at least 14 years. So say someone was born here in the U.S., but for some reason spent a lot of time abroad in other countries, they need to at least have lived in the U.S. for 14 years to become the president. And the minimum age is 35. So if you are thinking about the minimum ages, to be a representative, you only have to be 25. To be a senator, you have to be 30. And then for the president, it's a little bit stricter. You have to be at least 35. So those are the requirements. Let's talk a little bit more about how the president is elected. So this is our most recent presidential election results. Hopefully, as you remember, the 2 main candidates were Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump for the Republican Party, Hillary Clinton for the Democratic. And if you take a look over here on the right under the popular vote section, you will see that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. She has 65 million votes, whereas Donald Trump has 62 million. But is Hillary Clinton our president? No, she is not, because popular vote is not the way that the president is elected. It's through the Electoral College. So when you look over here at the electoral votes, you see that Donald Trump has 304, Hillary Clinton only has 227. So let's take a look at the map of the United States in 2016. This is how the Electoral College works. Let's look at Illinois as our example. Instead of a popular vote to become president, electors cast their vote for president, and it's those elector votes that actually count. And so each state has a different number of electors, as you can see looking at this map, and the electors are made up of that state's senators and representatives. So you know that Illinois has 18 representatives, and we have 2 senators. So you add 18 and 2, that's a total of 20 elector votes that Illinois has in the Electoral College. Again, looking at a smaller state population-wise, like Wyoming, they have 3 Electoral College votes because they have 2 senators and only 1 representative. So on Election Day, regular citizens go out and they cast their vote for president, and then the electors within that state base their vote off of the majority vote within their state. So Illinois is blue here because the majority of people in 2016 in Illinois voted for Hillary Clinton, and so Illinois' 20 electoral college votes went to Hillary Clinton. But if you look over here at Texas, you can see that the majority of people voted for Donald Trump, and so all of Texas's 38 electoral college votes went to Donald Trump. We will do an activity in class next week that helps us better understand the Electoral College and how it works, but hopefully that was a good overview for you today. Okay, here are some of the special powers that are laid out in the Constitution that the president is in charge of. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, so they're in charge of the military. The president can make treaties with foreign countries. The president appoints ambassadors to foreign countries. So an ambassador is someone that goes and lives in another country as a representative from the United States to try and keep relations smooth and peaceful between the United States and that other country. The president calls Congress together for special lawmaking sessions. The president can grant pardons for federal crimes. The president can sign and veto bills, as you guys hopefully already know. And then every year the president gives an annual State of the Union speech. What this means is the president gives a pretty long speech detailing all of the good things that our country is doing, as well as the issues and problems that are facing our country. So it's a way to help the American people understand how our country is doing. All right, the cabinet members are also part of the executive branch, and they are appointed or picked by the president. They are approved by the Senate. So it's not just like the president gets to pick someone and they have that job. They have to kind of go through a job interview with the Senate, and the Senate has to approve them. The cabinet members are important advisors that help carry out the laws of the country. So basically, these people help the president do his job. They advise him on issues that they're experts on and help him make decisions for executing our laws. A few examples of cabinet member titles are here. You've probably heard of them: Secretary of State, Director of the CIA, Secretary of Defense, Vice President, White House Chief of Staff. There are several more, but all these people, again, are appointed by the president to help him make decisions. So he trusts these people to help him do a good job. Here is a picture of the people within the president's cabinet. All right, also within the executive branch are different departments that, again, help carry out the laws of our country. So the cabinet members are in charge of their own departments. And the executive branch is actually the biggest branch in our government because of all of these departments. People have to work in these departments to make sure all the laws that are created in our country are carried out. And again, these are just a few examples: Department of Justice, FEMA, which stands for Federal Emergency Management Agency, the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Health and Human Services, the CIA, or the Central Intelligence Agency. And there's like countless departments. There are so many. And again, they each have a specific job to do within the category that their department is. So it really helps carry out our laws by dividing our country into these different sections. Again, next week we will be doing an activity that will help us understand what different departments are in charge of. And I'm going to be challenging you to try and figure out which department you think would be in charge of carrying out the bill or the law that you are creating for our Constitution project. So when we're learning about this next week, kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You need to be thinking, which department would oversee my law and why? All right, if you have any questions, make sure you come see me. That is the end of these notes.